So today I'd like to talk about the aftermath of spiritual awakening because it is a question that someone had left in the comments, and I'll read the comment in a moment. And this is essentially what it was about, like what happens when you go through a massive spiritual awakening, and then the aftermath, the result of that spiritual awakening is that you are just not the same person. So going back to the old life, going back to old relationships, going back to old ways of being, going back to certain connections or certain situations isn't feasible. It isn't something that you can do because you've outgrown it, right? Like you've evolved past it. And so I want to just talk about that a little bit today and kind of share my process of how I went through this transition, because it can stretch out. It can be a pretty long transition. And I mean, in the meantime, we still have to live. We still have to, put food on the table and take care of ourselves and our household. So, how does one kind of go about this? And just when I was tapping into the question and asking Spirit, like, what is sort of the best advice that I can provide on this and the best take, Spirit was like, share your story. Just talk about how you went through this and the certain challenges and certain things that you are going to experience from a spiritual awakening, and sort of how to deal with it. So the question that one of my lovely viewers had sent in from, this one's from Bill. He says, thanks for your message. Question: in my case, this whole transformational process completely devastated my whole world, relationship, job, etc. What do I do for work if I don't want to experience my old life? I can go back to the survival job mode, but I just did all the work to leave that world. Could you make a video and address that aspect of this in the new transformed world? And actually, when I was channeling the messages, I kind of rephrased the question is, what does one do when they have left their old life, old job, and need to work, but can't go back to what they left? So how to live in your new transformed inner world, because that's what's transformed. A lot of times it's not necessarily visible, right? To the naked eye, it's not things on the outside of you that have changed. It is the core frequency, the core being of your soul is what has changed and what has shifted. Your frequency significantly shifts during a spiritual awakening. And so some of the things I wrote down is that the first thing actually Spirit was saying that you don't need to quit your job. So just because you go through, a spiritual awakening, and I know because so many people, including myself, really struggle to go back to an old job or go back to something that they used to do. For some people, and you just have to kind of gauge where you're at with this, but for some people, it's absolutely impossible to go back to it. They literally just cannot do it. And for other people, they can, continue because it is providing an income. And from that perspective, Spirit was like, you have to reframe the way that you look at work, and you have to reframe the way that you are making a living, and just really look at the fact that, if that job is your old job and you hate it and you don't like it and you don't want to go back to it, however, it is providing an income. It is keeping you, sustaining your life basically and paying your bills and providing for you. Then reframe how you see it, because the transition process, confirmation burp, the transition process is going to take some time. I know for me personally, like it took, when did I quit my job? I'm going to say like 2 years. Yeah. Because in 2022 or 2023 is when I stopped renewing my massage registration here in Ontario. That's what's required for us to be able to provide massage therapy. We have to be registered with the College of Massage Therapists of Ontario. And that is $1,000 fee every year that we have to pay to keep our license. And I believe it was 2023 when I did not renew, and actually called the college and said that I no longer want to be on their list as a registered massage therapist. So when I did that and when I made that choice because for me, it got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. Like my body was resisting like really, really resisting to doing that line of work because it was so physically taxing and exhausting, especially as an empath, to massage people and like to touch them and to be that close in their aura and like to feel all of their stuff and receive channeling while you're massaging people. Like it was just too much. It was too much. It was psychically exhausting for me to massage people. And so this is why and I also went through this transition where it just like naturally fizzled out. Like the clients stopped coming, and it was like it didn't even matter what I did or how much I tried to kind of keep it going. It was this natural fizzling out phase that just where I just completely transitioned out. And I know it's because Spirit wanted me to focus on this path, and it was exhausting me to be trying to massage full time and see a bunch of clients and then still sit down and make videos. It's not possible, man. Like, I was massaging 5-6 people a day. Okay. So minimum 1 hour, minimum. Sometimes some of those massages were 90 minutes or 2 hours. So it's like, that's a lot. And it wasn't feasible for me to continue. And I needed to be more aligned with my mission. I needed to transition fully. And for me, it was also a massive trust exercise. Like I know Spirit was asking me to trust, and I know Spirit was guiding me to trust during this transitionary period, and was like, okay, yeah, maybe things are going to be tight financially for a while, but you are growing something here, something beautiful, and you have a service to the world that you can provide in a way that others can't provide it. So on the one hand, it's, can you sort of muster up the strength and keep going with the work that you're doing currently because it's putting food on the table? Like I said, for me, this was not an option because it stopped putting food on the table, because that's how much I was being pushed into this new path and spiritual evolution and supporting others in their spiritual evolution. But if it is something that you can continue, I would recommend continuing, and think of it, it's because it's all a mindset shift. Think of it like this. This is temporary. I'm so grateful that I at least have this job and that I'm able to receive income. I'm able to provide for myself or for my dependents if you have dependents. And I know that in the meantime, while I am working this job to provide, I'm going to take as much time as I possibly can to allow myself to connect to what I actually want to do next. Because that was the next thing that I wrote down, is like, you don't need to quit your job. You just need distance. So for many people going through a massive spiritual awakening, I know one of the symptoms is you become absolutely unmotivated. You become lethargic, tired. You reach this like point of exhaustion where you just can't even function some days, and you can't even do anything, let alone work or, give to anybody else. And I totally get that. And when you move through that cycle and when you move through that phase, that's where you have to just love on yourself and really respect yourself and really look at how you take care of yourself. Because in that moment, that's what Spirit is asking you to do. It's like, okay, you're going to not feel that great as your body is releasing density. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel unmotivated, uninspired. You're going to feel like you don't want to work because you're going through a massive reset. Your vibration is completely recalibrating to a higher frequency. And so that density that is coming forth and is being released from your system is what is creating these symptoms. That's what makes you so tired. That's what makes you so unmotivated. Some people even go through like bouts of depression. I kind of feel like I had some of that, but like it was never like terrible. Like I was able to kind of keep myself going as long as I stayed connected to source and would communicate every day, and I was receiving signs every day. So it's like I had the roadmap, just like you have the roadmap that is leading you towards your best and highest good, towards your next step. But there is a transitionary period between the now and that next step. So while you are doing that, Bumblebee, while you are doing that, so actually community, I'm reminded of community, can you rely on people in your community? Do you have any supportive people around you that maybe you can work something out with, where you create some kind of mutually beneficial collaboration with other people, right? It's because it's also about not feeling alone in this process. But if you don't have that, then, unfortunately, you're going to have to work until you receive enough clarity, which means that you have to be able to relax. You have to be able to stay calm within yourself and stay very, very focused on like the new goal, the new way that you want to feel, the new job, and what the confirmation burp, and what that looks like and what that feels like. I didn't even eat anything recently. That's crazy. These really are confirmation burps. So there's so much guidance that you're going to receive along the way, that little signposts that are going to show you, hey, this way, hey, look into that, research this, call this person, send that email. So it's like, there are so many options. You don't necessarily have to stay in that transitional period for a long time. And I think if you know that, if you understand that and just really build that into your consciousness and just accept that, like, this doesn't have to take a long time. And the more clear I get, and the sooner that I get clear about what I actually want to do next. And for you, that next might be rest. But the more clear that you get, and the sooner that you get clear about it, the sooner you're going to move through the transition. So back to the point I just said, that transition and the next step for a lot of people, and this was a process I had to move through, and it sucked because every part of my like type A doer personality wanted to like resist this, but I had to rest, and I had to move through a whole like phase or like period where I had to rest. And during that rest, and the reason why you have to rest, it's like your soul is kind of going, okay, can we like time out here? Can we just take a minute, and can we integrate? Can we recalibrate? Can we just have some time to do this where I don't have to do anything, where I don't have to give to anything or anyone, where I can just truly allow myself to be and to rest and move through however long that period is? Because rest is a huge part of it. It's like, think of it this way. It's like you've been running a marathon this whole time. Your nervous system has been on the fritz this whole entire time while you were living in that previous vibration, right? Because you were in survival mode. You were in do it, get it done, whatever, that kind of a mode. And then you go through this incredible spiritual awakening. You go through this process of understanding, of realizing things, of seeing things more clearly, understanding things more clearly, like in ways that you've never seen or understood them before. And that's like sort of a shock to your system. It's a shock to your nervous system. It's a shock to your entire body, your entire being, because everything that you've known up until that point might feel like a lie. It might feel like it wasn't even real. And some parts of it actually weren't, right? Anything that wasn't based in authenticity, anything that wasn't based in love and true value was a lie. It was an illusion. You think you're not going to be exhausted from that? Yeah. Like, you're going to need a minute to process all of that information. And for me, I know it was a lot of like, that's when I really started to get into meditation, because I just had to get out of my head. Like, my head was driving me crazy. My thoughts were driving me crazy. So in the transition period, this is where we are actually given time. We are given time. And I can't even tell you, like, I'm still sitting here because of God, because I trusted, because God always came through for me in the last minute. Like, when I didn't have money, when I didn't have income coming in, because I was like literally just too fucked to work. Like, I couldn't do it. And something always came through. Something always came through that's like saved me, and that covered my bills and stuff. And so I'm just saying, like, let yourself move through the transition without judging it, without thinking that you're supposed to be somewhere else or that you're supposed to have it all figured out. You're not going to have it all figured out, because Spirit is not going to overwhelm you with giving you everything all at once. So, hey, 3 years from now or next year or whatever, you're going to be doing this and this and this. Like, that would be so overwhelming, right? Plus, there's no element of surprise. So Spirit is always just kind of giving you little crumbs. Like, here's the next little crumb. Here's the next little crumb. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. And that's how you're going to be guided. But in order for you to be guided, you have to silence the mind. You have to quiet it. You have to, because meditation is listening. When you're praying to God, you are speaking to God. And when you're meditating, you're listening to God, right? And so giving yourself time to sit in silence, even if it's just not guided, you're not listening to anything specific, you're just sitting out in nature. Like I did that earlier today. I was just sitting out on my deck and I just kind of sat there in the silence and I listened. And then little snippets of information, little thoughts, little feelings, ideas, messages will come through in that silence. And it's like, that's how spirit is going to show you the next step. Here's what to move forward to. Because ultimately, the whole spiritual awakening and the whole entire purpose of spiritual awakening for all of us and for individual, like for each of us, is for you to be guided back to love, for you to be guided back to your own soul, your own heart, your own sovereignty. That is the purpose of it. That is why we're moving through this massive spiritual awakening. And this weekend, too, we have a lot of conjunctions I saw and different things in astrology. So again, a very, very special weekend, moving through a lot of big changes. And it's really important to get into the mindset that you are abundant. So, because again, for me, this transition process included like this big lesson around trusting. And I was really, really forced to trust. I was forced to trust God to come through for me. I was forced to trust myself that I was following God's guidance in the appropriate steps. I was forced to trust that what my heart was telling me was true, that it was right, that it was accurate, and that was what was meant for me. So there is going to be a big trust exercise because you're going to have to leave behind everything that you were in your old vibration. And where I am now and what I feel now is, oh my gosh, these confirmation burps coming out of nowhere. Okay, so like I was saying before, I had a series of confirmation burps roll through out of nowhere. What I was saying is that where I am now is that I'm in this place of like ultimate trust. Like there's nothing that's going to shake that. Like my thoughts, I've got them under control to the point now where certain things come up and I'm just like, oh, that's the old me still. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll ignore that because we're not listening to old Kata who lived in lack and pain and limitation and all of that, right? Because new Kata doesn't live in that energy. I'm so healed, like I can feel it within myself that I have elevated out of so much pain and suffering, and even that whole level of a density, that level of consciousness, like I've elevated out of that. I've healed myself out of that completely. And that's why now I'm in, and I just got chills as I said that. And that's why now I'm just in this place of completely trusting. Like I trust divine guidance. I trust that divine is always coming through for me. There's no reason for me to doubt that I'm prosperous, that I'm abundant. And that's what I choose to focus on. And so the next part of this transitionary period for you, Bill, or for anyone listening, is to move into trust. Now you are being asked, you're probably being given time to recalibrate yourself, to essentially solidify this vibration within you, to like let it sort of sink in, to let it be embodied, I'm hearing. And then as you're in this transition phase, this is where you're given this time to be with yourself, to connect with yourself. It's like you needed all that noise to be cleared. You needed the job to go. You needed the partner or the friends or the situations or the different circumstances that you were in. It's like you needed to step out of all of that so that you can now be in this energy of just you, without the noise, without the BS in the way, without the drama, without the constant hassling and the whatever else you were experiencing. So use this time to your advantage and connect into just desires, connect into your heart and what your heart is guiding you to do. Like I remember when I was still a clinic owner and when I still had my business and I was still massaging like full time. I remember so often my heart literally screaming at me, especially when it was like the fifth or sixth massage of the day and I was just pooped and tired. And I remember my soul screaming at me like, there's a better way. Like, this isn't what we want to do. It's like there was this self-expression, this creative expression that wanted to just burst through me, that wanted to leave the physical thing behind and fully step into the spiritual. And I remember it taking me years to finally start listening to that voice, to that very deep yearning within my heart, because this is what I feel like I was meant to do, was to support, to guide other people through my own experience, through YouTube, through the different things that I'm working on. Like, this is how I am meant to serve the world. And it's not meant to be exhausting. It is not meant to be tiring. It is not meant to be something that I have to force motivation or inspiration for. So what is that thing for you, where you don't force inspiration or force motivation? It just, you want to just do it because it feels good. It feels right in your heart. And you're not doing it for money. You're not doing it for any hidden agenda whatsoever. You're just doing it because it feels good and because it's how you feel called to help others. So connect to whatever it is you're good at, to whatever it is you genuinely enjoy doing, whether that's with your hands and creating something physical, tangible with your hands for men, like if it's building stuff, if it's fixing things for other people that they can't fix for themselves, like whatever brings you joy. If it's tinkering with electronics, I don't know, like whatever it is. And think about how you can create some kind of either like a business. Like entrepreneurship, I find is becoming this revolutionary thing where more and more and more people are stepping into entrepreneurship, realizing that actually working for myself is not that bad, and actually running my own business is not, it doesn't have to be complicated as long as you keep it simple, as long as you focus on the one thing that you want to, really work on, the thing that you really want to work towards, or the thing that you, like I said, are most inspired, most excited to share with the world, and then just, there's some studying, some learning that's going to be involved in that process, obviously, to get you sort of up to speed in terms of how you can use social media or different things to promote yourself or to just share what you know, right? But that's where I'm coming from personally. So because I'm definitely entrepreneur material, I always have been. I never ever liked to be led. I never liked other people to tell me what to do, because it always felt wrong. It felt belittling. It felt, when you know that you're a leader and you just know. So that's just always been me. And that's something that you got to soul search. You got to kind of dig and find out if that's you, and how you can support, how you can help other people in a way that also puts you into abundance and also keeps you there. And it's like effortless, and people are more than happy to pay you because what you have to offer is genuine. So all in all, I'm going to encourage anyone that has had a massive spiritual awakening, who feels unmotivated, uninspired, and just tired, lethargic, or any of that right now. That's the season you're supposed to be in. And you got to give yourself some time to be there, to recover literally from this jump in elevation, from this jump in vibration. You also need time to recover as you are shedding, because I remember my process, like I was shedding continuously. There was things where I would be like awesome one day, and then the next day I would just bawl my face off because something else would come up again, and I had to just sit with it, and I had to acknowledge it and just be like, okay, well, here this is now, so let's just feel it out and let it release through my feeling it. So wherever you are, whatever stage you are on with your spiritual journey, know that it's okay. Know that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Honor it. And most importantly, listen to your intuition. Listen to your heart. Where is it pulling me? Where is it guiding me? What is it guiding me towards? I'm hearing like an old, lost, forgotten dream. There is a revival. I'm hearing revival. There's something that you are meant to revive, something that you are meant to tap back into. This is a gift. This is something I'm seeing a kid, like you were a kid when you were doing this, and it was something that was just effortless. Like you did it because it felt good and you enjoyed it, and it was just right. It was your jam. Like it was just right up your alley. So there's something that you used to do, and I'm hearing like, remember how you felt when you were a kid, and you just played. And you would like build something out of sticks, or you would just do something and you would just play. Connect to that same feeling. Revive that same feeling within yourself. And now that I'm saying this, I'm reminded of my own childhood. And Spirit's like, yeah, remember, Kata, how you always used to be like the boss, like the teacher, and you were always like giving advice or like giving tasks and stuff. Even when I played with my sister or my brother, that's always I was always like the teacher, and that's crazy. And I remember loving it and just being super tapped into that. And it was just like, yeah, of course I'm a teacher. Like, okay, children, this is what we're gonna do. And that was just very natural to me. So I feel like tap back into that. Do a little soul searching and see what comes up for you. Because that's where the keys lie, the golden nuggets I'm seeing. You're going to make a connection with that. That's going to spark some type of an idea. I'm hearing reconnect you with that childhood bliss. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So for anyone, like I said, who's gone through a massive awakening and you're just kind of like, huh, like what's next? What do I even do? Because I don't know. Then if you don't know, do nothing. Do nothing. Just be with yourself, listen, connect, see what your soul wants to say, see where your soul wants to guide you. That is my advice. And I'm just going to read off a couple more things that I wrote down here for that channeling. It says, take time off as long as you can to give yourself time to be in liminal space. So in a space of neutrality where you can just, again, be with yourself, be with your thoughts, be with Mother Nature, just like ground yourself, like sort of give your nervous system a break, essentially. Take time to reflect on why you don't want to do what you have done. Then take time to dig deep within yourself about how you want to live, what you'd like to do that feels fun, exciting, and fulfilling. What kind of things do you like doing just because it's fun? And look into how you can build a business model around that. Keep it simple, keep it minimal. I kept hearing that, like keep it really simple. You don't need a lot of tools. I can attest to that. You don't need a lot of tools to start something. Choose one thing to focus on and go all in. Or find a new job that you can do that's different from the last one. Don't get something similar out of familiarity. To break the mold in your mind around how you look at work, you need different. Keep away from past situations or people you've made a decision to move away from, to keep as much of your life in the new energy as possible. So that was the last bit of notes I wrote for this specific channeling. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that you got something out of this bill specifically for you, because you asked the question under the comments in the last video. So I hope that this is helpful. Take a little time to reflect. If you have any other questions, let me know. You can find my email in the description box. You can also find all the links to work with me. And of course, you can still grab some awesome little otter spirit bracelets too. So the link and the coupon code is in the description box for that. So that's today's transmission. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like on your way out. Subscribe if you have not, and I will see you very soon in the next channeling. Take care.